Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots, bootlicker, shows, deaths, search, peasants, vassals, minions, meat sacks. I'm a useful idiot. Welcome. And I came across a chart recently that was pretty revealing, and that's the fact that world leaders all over the globe are not very popular with their populations, and yet we're stuck with them. And that seems to be how it goes. And it should send a clear message that nobody's really getting the representation they want, and that our elites and our governments tend to follow their own agendas and turn their backs on their populations, and that's certainly been true in the United States. But if you go through this list of countries, it's interesting. Czechia, South Korea, France, Germany, Canada, Austria, Japan, UK, Norway, Spain, and Brazil all have a 60% disapproval rate. And countries like Turkey, Belgium, South Africa, Sweden, Italy, Poland, and the Netherlands, 50% of the population disapproves of their governments. And only when you get to a handful of countries, the U.S. among them, Australia, the United States, Switzerland, Argentina, Mexico, India, do you have a 20 to 30% disapproval rate. And so I find this really telling. It doesn't surprise me at all that most governments in the world do not represent their populations. Their policies are disapproved, and they follow their own agendas. And it's only recently in the United States, of course, that we have this kind of approval rating, because Trump approval rating is surging as we speak. And in stark contrast, a lot of it is helped by the stark contrast between a completely ineffective president the last 4 years, President Biden. But and I think it also goes to show that the countries like Australia, Switzerland, Mexico, India have leaders who are transitioning their countries, and they seem to be listening to their people. And certainly we find that in the United States, where the people really are finding that they have a voice in the government. And whatever you may think of Trump, he's doing that right now. And of course, we see that in Argentina with Milei. He's completely turned the country around. And even though he's used a lot of shocking tactics, including drastically reducing the size of the government, he's put Argentina in a position it hasn't been in for many, many, many decades, a country that was once very rich. And so he's returning them to their legacy. But like I say, I find it really interesting that most of the world actually hates their governments, disapproves of their policies, and governments and leaders need to realign with representing the people that elected them, and not following the agendas of their handlers, their elites, the powerful, the corporations, etc. So anyway, very enlightening to me. Most of the world's in the same boat, and there's going to be a change. And we see a lot of these countries, particularly in Europe, with a 60% disapproval of their government. And these governments are going to pay the price, because there's a big change in the wind, and the people are speaking, and they will be heard. And that's very encouraging. I'm a useful idiot. Don't you be one too.